Hey everyone, this is Andrea Wynn, your delighted host for the Self-Compassion as a Path of Healing program, and I hope that you are really enjoying the program. So I thought that I would spice things up this week. I know that I have provided you a very simple sheet this week for you to perhaps use for dialoguing with your inner critic. And since I've been doing this for quite a number of months and sort of have developed my own little culture around this, I thought that I would just share with you the culture that I have developed around this, just to perhaps even open some doors for your own creativity. So I am introducing you to my dialogue sheet that I use for dialoguing with my very precious inner critic. And so I have done a lot of work connecting with different parts of my inner family. And so each of these parts has their own chosen emoji. So I'll first just mention here I've got at the top, I've got a couple, my tween, Andy, and over here is my inner 16-year-old Sherop, who chose to be like a mermaid. Then have other parts of my inner family down here along the bottom. And for me, it just felt really nice to have the sort of this dialogue surrounded by my inner family. Just kind of brings a greater sense of holding and warmth, and I really like that. And so my inner tween and my teen Sherop, they also wanted to include this sort of some words of encouragement here of being gentle and also being firm in care for my inner critic. And at one point I was taking a course with a spiritual teacher, Sri Kumar Rao, and he said something that just really resonated for me. He had said a couple of stages, when you're feeling really anxious about something, is first of all to acknowledge it, and then to think, well, what do I now have to do? And then after that, pursue the solution ruthlessly and meticulously. And that this is where to pour your emotional energy, as opposed to just going in endless cycles of worrying. So his teaching really spoke to me, and so I felt moved to include that on my inner critic dialogue sheet as well. So you can see I've created some holding, some atmosphere in which to have these dialogues with my inner critic. So that brings us to the center part of this, and I've got the two columns. And for those who I have not shared this with before, I do have a very strong inner divine masculine. His name is David, and he has his own emoji as well. And then I because I do regularly talk with my inner critic, he got to choose an emoji as well. And he's a fencer. He likes cutting things down, which was sort of where we started in our relationship. He is not so aggressive and cutting me down anymore, but I think there's perhaps been some softness that has come to this emoji for the inner critic, which is the fencing emoji. So I just wanted to show you how something like this can work. I usually start out with David opening the conversation, and also just to say, every member of my inner family has their own voice, which they have their own font, their own color of the font. So you're about to see David's voice. So perhaps he might begin by just saying, "Hello, inner critic. How are you doing this evening?" And so then I just pop over here, and so then the inner critic might say, "Hi, David. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me. It really means so much to me. I am pretty much doing okay this evening, but I am a bit worried because you didn't get the operating systems assignment done today, and you have no idea what is wrong with the program. So, background, I'm going to be full disclosure. I'm the kind of person who believes in putting myself on the spot, so I did not think this through ahead of time. You are getting a live session with my inner critic, and so he's just bringing up that I was working on my operating systems assignment today, and I did not get it done. So, how will David respond to this? So, thanks for raising your concern, inner critic. I always appreciate you doing this. It's good for you, and it is good for me. So he's not immediately addressing the concern. He's kind of doing some relationship building, and I would say that his approach is already calming the inner critic, because it's taking the focus away from the problem to appreciating the inner critic. It kind of soothes him. It helps him to feel better. So now David might even introduce a little space and go on to say, I can understand you being disappointed that the program is not working and our holiday starts tomorrow. It's a loose end, but we will have time to work on it after the holiday. I feel full confidence in my ability to solve this problem, and I have the resource of getting help from the professor if needed. Everything is going to be okay. And we have a little cultural thing that the men in our world tend to use the blue heart. So I have a little special key code to bring out the blue heart. So he is sending a little love to the inner critic. And so how will the inner critic respond? Well, I still feel a little nervous, David. Just wish that life was easier. I wish that we could have everything done before our holiday, and that we could go with a clear and easy mind. So I realize this may be going a little too long for the demo, but I don't want to leave you on the cliffhanger here, so why don't we do one more round of response? Dear inner critic, I so appreciate how you notice the details and that you care about completing things. And again, just to say, this was not pre-planned. I would like for us to take a moment and just to acknowledge that life is basically always having loose ends. We often have to allow things to take the time that they need. And I would like to call your attention to how I always take care of planning and making sure that we have time to work on the assignments so they are done by the time they are due. So let's see, how does the inner critic receive that? David, I have to admit that you have consistently managed the workload, and we have always, oh, he's getting in there, gotten our assignments in on time. I am choosing to trust you, and I know that is a wise decision. Thank you for attending to me. I am feeling a lot better. Peace be with you, David. Okay, so there you go. You can see a real shift happen there with my inner critic. And so this was not only a demo of the kind of culture that you could create, your own personal culture that you can create around dialoguing with your inner critic, but also the really powerful shifts that can happen when you are present, both with your wise adult part and this frightened and, stressed out inner critic. Really magical things can happen, and it can help you to feel better. That's ultimately. It's not about living in a fantasy world. It's really about how to take good care of yourself so you can feel better and you can be more present in your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this little demo, and I look forward to connecting with you in the Slack discussion group. Okay, bye-bye for now.